Hello. Today I'm going to be working with an unusual tool in my watercolors. This is not for champagne and it's not for strawberries and whipped cream. It's for creating a perfect circle. And you'll see why I want that in just a moment. But what you need for this is just whatever watercolors you have, a decent sized brush, something like that. This is a size 12. And something that will make a good circle. Can be any size, depends on the size of your paper. So let's get started and see what happens. So today I'm working in my 8x8 sketchbook. This is the one that is my challenge sketchbook, which is like Fill a Sketchbook Challenge, which I've talked about in previous videos. It's fairly new, as you can see. I've only done a few pages in it. And you can find the videos on those pages on my channel page. But today I'm going to use this page. Now, there's one little problem with this. Because it's been painted on, you can see that the paper has warped a little bit. It buckles when it gets wet. That's just how it goes. But in this case, it doesn't really matter very much. This page is flat. I'll paint something else on it on another day. But today I'm going to use this page, and you'll see in a moment why it doesn't really matter that much. So first I'm going to clip down the corners just to keep it a little bit flatter. And today I'm using this set of paints of mine. This is kind of my everyday set. And I'm going to, it's too bad that it's, you know what, I'm going to turn this over. Just turn it around so that it's closer. And this project doesn't really have to have a top or a bottom anyway, so it doesn't really matter. All right, to begin with, I need a wet brush. I need a rag. I need some paper towel for dabbing my brush. And this also has a tray like this for mixing colors. So it doesn't necessarily show that well. Let's just move it in a little bit. That should work. Okay, I'll keep this rag handy. Now, to start with, I'm going to use one of these darker browns. So this is burnt sienna. This is, I forget, raw umber. This is raw umber. And I always like to test them and see, is this the color I want? And this is not the color I want necessarily. I want a little bit more, I want it a little bit darker, but you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it with what's on my tray already. And blue mixed with brown will give you a darker color. And I'm also going to go in here to this Van Dyke brown and see what I get. And I can see right now that's not really the color I want either. I want something a little deeper. So I'm going to add some Payne's Gray. Now Payne's Gray is kind of a blue, dark blue gray, as you can see here. So when I mix those together, that's more the color I want, that really kind of cold, dark brown. But I need quite a bit of it. So I'm going to just put lots of paint in here, like that. In fact, I think I'll spray into these two little pots there so that I'm not constantly using up all the moisture in it. That should be enough of that. And then I'll just get a lot more of this. I mean, the other way you could do this is to use paint straight from the tubes. And I don't usually do that because it uses up a lot of paint. Okay, that's more like what I want. So I'm going to try this. This is a new experience. This is not something I've done before, and And that's a good thing. I like to try new things because once you've tried it and found out how it works, then you know. Okay, so the trick with this, of course, is to keep it going so it's wet. Now I'm going to just pop this down here, lift that up so that, perfect, that's exactly what I wanted. Okay, I want to put a little bit more brown into this so it's not quite as black. This time I'm going to go around it again. Like this, make sure I've got all the way around. I think I did. And like I said, it doesn't matter if it has little spaces that don't quite touch. And I'm going to put this next to there, not quite, okay. I'm going to go at it one more time and make this one a little lighter. And I think I'll actually put some burnt sienna in it, which is more of a terracotta color. And let's see what we get this time. There is a method to this madness, which you'll see shortly. Make sure I get it all around again. And I'm going to put that just a little bit off as well. Perfect. Okay, while this is wet, I'll give it a good wipe, but it can also go right into the dishwasher because it's watercolor and it'll wash right off. So if I want to have a margarita in it, for example, I don't have to worry about drinking paint. FYI, I actually don't drink margaritas. Not that I have anything against it, but alcohol and me don't mix very well, so I just kind of avoid that. Okay, what I want to do now is I want this to be dry. So I'm going to, see I got a few spatters around here, not a problem. I'm going to use my handy dandy, not quite real heat gun. It's a hairstyling tool, but that works just as well, I think. There, that looks to be pretty dry. Okay, now I'm finished with that part. Now what I want to do is go over to a different palette. So I'm going to hang on to this, I think. Hold on. Let me just decide here. I want to use some colors from this palette because I love the bright ones and I want to make this nice and bright. But this one has some greens that I want to use. So, let's see. It's actually getting trickier to use all these different things. Just hold on. I have so many palettes of paint now. It's just phenomenal and fabulous. And I recently came across a sale on these Kuretake paints, which are also wonderful. I'm going to, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put this one away, put this one here, and keep this tray handy for mixing. And these ones can go out of my way, so can that. That can go off to the side, and I'll put this one up here where it's got a little bit of space. I have so much stuff on my desk here, you have no idea. Anyway, okay, first, I'm going to use a slightly smaller brush. And this one, no, I think I'll use, that's an 8. They're both 8s. I was actually looking for a 10, 12, 16, 8. Well, oh, here it is. 10. This one. I might use this one as well, so I'll just leave it out here. Okay, the first thing I want to do is just pick up some colors. Now again, this is a new palette for me, so sometimes the colors are a bit of a surprise, but this one's okay. So I'm just going to make some leaves. Now, these are going to go in different directions. And because the paint is so dark, these paints are actually sort of semi-opaque, as you can see here. But here, with more water in it, not so much, okay? And opaque means you can't see through it. In case you lost some of your reference points. I'm going to go over this one again. See how it works? So I'm going to try and get them kind of all going in the same direction. Because what I'm painting here is a wreath. I really like that these are a little bit opaque because you can do different things with them than you can with really transparent watercolors. So the leaves are simple to make, and sometimes I do them from the point backwards because I like the point to be pointy, and sometimes where you lift up your brush it leaves a little blob of paint, and I don't really want that. So, but you can always go back into them like that and fill them in. Just add a little more. These paints are so creamy. They're so unusual. They're Japanese made and just beautiful. I'm going to go back from the tip again. Just like that. So you can see this doesn't take very long, and it doesn't take much effort, and it doesn't take any great skill. Okay, so I want these ones to be a little bit darker, so I'll go over them again. But otherwise, I'm very happy with that. Now, I want to use different green to sort of change it up a little. So we'll try this one. That's quite bright. I kind of like a yellow-green. And I have this little set of Kuretake paints that I got separately. It was actually a gift. I think this one actually works better with these colors. So I'm just going to put it here and stack them up. So I'm going to pick up, again, just pick up a whole bunch of paint. You know what? That's almost exactly the same. I'm stunned. I thought they were really different. In fact, they do really look different. Okay, let's do something wild and crazy then. And go to this one. Now, this paint, this color, I love the color, but the paint itself was like, it cracked like crazy. I need to actually get the tube out and put some more in here. So here's what it looks like. Yes, it's so pretty. So let's throw a few of these in. The problem with it, of course, is that it's really pretty sheer. You know, I don't think it's going to work for this project just because of the dark vines. Like, this is kind of a vine, right? So let's try this one. And these all have names. I just don't want to look it up. Do I want to go that dark? I don't think so. Not right now. I'm going to just go with this bright one. Now you could use gouache. Gouache is watercolor that's opaque. So if I wanted to, I could use gouache. The only reason I don't is because I want to, I do have some gouache, but I want to put it into a little palette so that I can so that I can keep it kind of dampish. I'm only going to put a few of these because I have something else up my sleeve. All right, that's good. We'll just leave that color. Now comes the flower part. These have a lot of paint on them, so they are also going to take a little while to dry. So what you can do, of course, is just leave it, walk away, go watch some of my other YouTube videos. You can do all kinds. What I usually do when I'm doing this is just dry it so that I can keep working. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, this is all dry now. I need to rearrange my furniture here. And it's funny because the parts where the paint was thicker, it's almost shiny. I don't know if you can see that. The leaves look a little shiny. Like I said, this paint is new to me. So I want to put some, let me see, let's go with this color. Yeah, that's exactly the color I want. And I don't want it to be necessarily too strong. Just move this over, see if you can see this. There's already some paint here. So I can just paint from this little puddle. I don't want it to have too much paint on my brush, and doing this kind of takes some of the moisture off. So my idea is just to make some little flowers. And you know, you live and you learn. Because my Kuretake paints are so opaque, I could have put them on first. Now this paint is also pretty opaque, but I'm putting it on in a lighter fashion with more water in it. And that's just fine. I just want to kind of fill in some spaces, make it look like there's some sort of abstract flowers. I love kind of the loose flowers look. So I'm just putting some color in here. I am not aiming for any kind of real recognizable floral at all. Now, one thing that you got to watch for here is when you put water on the brown, it picks up the brown. There. Now I can go back in and with my paint a little thicker, add some kind of highlights. I could also go in with different colors. So by that I mean different shades and you know, completely different colors. But I think just adding some highlights like this in the darker shade of the same color is really effective, because then you get sort of a two-tone look. There, is that ever pretty? This needs a little bit on the outside here and maybe along the insides. Okay, now I want to also add a little bit of a different color, which is, I think, this one, which is kind of neon, and I just love it. Now I'm just going to kind of pop it in here and there. I don't want that. I don't want more water. I want more paint. I don't know about you, but I think this is just the most fun thing to do. This is why I went back to doing watercolors on my channel, because although I really love doing glue books, I thought, you know what, I'm kind of missing watercolor. I kept missing painting. And I've mentioned this before, that, you know, I love to paint in watercolor and acrylics, but I've loved watercolor for 40 years. There, isn't that pretty? Okay, it's a little bit wider on this side than this side, so I'm going to go back. Let's see, too much water there. I'm going to go back over in here and just make some things a little bit bigger. Just like that. I think that works. Okay. Now this is still quite wet, obviously, because I put wet on the wet on the wet kind of thing. So it also needs to dry for a bit. But what I can do in the meantime is basically nothing. I need to just leave it and let it dry. Okay, I might have a couple of spots that are still just a little bit sticky, but I think that's fine. Now, the only thing I'm not liking is that the dark is so dark. So next time, I think I would probably use a more washed out color. But you know, you try things and you learn things, and that's fine. So right now I'm going to go into, I'm not sure what color this is. It's all in Japanese, so, oh, that's pretty. You know what? I love it. So what I'm going to do to kind of help camouflage the dark brown is just put some of these around, just little dots to represent little flowers. I'm not sure if it's really going to succeed in hiding that brown, which is just fine. It doesn't matter. Just gives a little something extra. Sort of pull it together. I don't know if you can hear that. A train is going by. We have trains here. If you're from not from North America, we have European friends who come over and are astonished at the length of the trains, because 100 cars, we call them, or I think in Europe they call them wagons, in a train is not unusual at all. In fact, it's kind of the norm, because they leave the Port of Vancouver full and head out east across the Rocky Mountains. And why make that great big trip if you're not going to take a lot of stuff with you? It's kind of like going on a big holiday. There, I kind of like that. Okay, you know what I'm going to do before I finish? I want to put some splatters around here, and the purple is still wet, so it's going to probably, you know, drift a little bit if it gets a splatter, but this this might not be the best brush for this. Okay, so there's the pink ones, and I also want, let's see, let's go with that one. That just was a blob of water. Don't want that. Sometimes the water just gets around here on the ferrule. Another way you can do this is with a toothbrush. So I'm trying to keep it from going all over the desk. So I'm going to just stop doing things right now. And there's that cute little project. I hope you give it a try. It was, as you can tell, super easy and really fun. And next time I can work on this side, now that I've smeared those. So this is the direction it goes in the book. But you know what? What I'm going to do with this right now is see if I can just wipe it up. Sometimes with watercolor, if you're quick, you can wipe them up. And sometimes you can't, no matter what you do. And it's because some of them are pigments and some of them are stains. And if it's a stain, it's there to stay. Just like a stain in your t-shirt. All right. There's our project for today. It will dry and it will be pretty. And I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a comment and tell me what you think. If you like this kind of work and would like to do more projects like this, I'd love to hear from you. And I'll see you next time.